You're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
2,721 hits, same as Lou Gehrig. There it is. For 72 years, Lou Gehrig has been the Yankees' all-time hits leader. Now, it's Derek Jeter, 27-22, and he moves ahead of the legendary Iron Horse, Henry Louis Gehrig. Well, for most of this week, it's been about Derek Jeter and breaking the all-time hits record. Today, it's about A.J. Burnett as he tries to tone up his game as the Yankees move toward the playoffs. As today, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the Baltimore Orioles in the middle game of a three-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball along with Al Leiter. I'm Michael Kay, an organization that cares just about winning. Ironically, yesterday's 10-4 Yankee loss was the sidebar. The main story was Derek Jeter. He's been chasing Lou Gehrig for about a week now, finally caught him and passed him.
And it was really exciting. It had much of a playoff atmosphere. There's no question about it. What Derek Jeter meant to the game early on, everybody obviously excited and focused on him. This was in his second at-bat. Chris Tillman hits a fastball away, Jeter-esque type swing and hit. How typical for him to go to right field. His family excited, high fives all the way around. His father Charles, along with family and friends in the box. And then there you see Jorge Posada and other teammates. And then later, what does he do? Same swing, a little further right center field, scoring Robinson Cano. What a night for Derek Jeter, New York Yankees, even though with the 10-4 loss. Good for Derek Jeter.
And what a career it's been, and it's not over. These are the Yankees that have held that record, franchise hit leaders. Willie Keeler, Hal Chase, Wally Pitt, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and now, 72 years later, Derek Jeter takes first place. He has 2,723 hits. Let's look at today's New York Lottery pitching matchup. Brian Mattis will go for the Orioles. They like his stuff, 4-2, 5.26. A.J. Burnett for the Yankees, 11-8 with a 4.19 ERA. Well, now that Derek Jeter has overtaken Lou Gehrig, he's in the rearview mirror for a bit. Now it's about A.J. Burnett. How's he been pitching lately? We'll ask Al Leiter when we return right here on Yes. Now, you would think, Al, that because he has just one win since July 27th, that he hasn't pitched well. That's the general perception. but not Al Leiter's perception.
No, it's not. And over the last 7 starts, as he said, he had 5 quality starts, and he only won 1 game. So obviously, when it's about wins and losses, this was kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. And I think it's more about him making mistakes in the zone. Felix Pierre went the opposite way. This was 2 starts ago in Baltimore, where we went 5 1/3 with 6 runs and 11 hits. Luke Scott hit a bomb here, almost hit the warehouse. What I see with A.J. Burnett is when he has his breaking ball on, as he did against Tampa, he went 6 innings, only gave up 1 run, 8 strikeouts. That nasty curveball, flailing both on the right side and the left side. And he's got his curveball going. He's awfully tough to hit.
Well, we'll see how he does today as the Yankees continue their push to the playoffs. Lineups, first pitch, baseball, next on Yes. And the Bronx has the right-hander deals, and we are underway, 0-1.
On the mound, A.J. Burnett, be his 29th start of the year, coming off a good start against Tampa Bay, the 176 innings, 162 hits to walks, hits innings ratio. Good statistic right there.
Pitch outside, 1-1.
Let's take a look at the Jeep pitcher Scatterport. Get on a roll. He snapped the season high, tying start winless, going 0 for 4 from August 1st to September 1st. His last start, he pitched a very good one. Uncle Charlie, watch early on with his curveball. If it's effective in the zone for called strikes and then also swinging. His last start, he had 8 strikeouts, all of them on curveball. And looking for a 2-ball. In his last 5 starts, he has not had induced a double play. It's the longest of this year. All right, Roberts, their big catalyst, has signed a 4-year deal, 50 doubles.
3rd time in his career he's done that, the 3-1. 3-2. Let's look at the game time weather conditions presented by Bigelow Tea. 66 degrees, high humidity, 9 miles per hour is the wind. The forecast is for a chance of showers. The Yankees have actually endured 15 rain delays this season for a total of 22 hours and 22 minutes lost to nature this season. 3-2, and there's a base hit. So Brian Roberts is on. Nick Swisher gets the ball in quickly. So Roberts with a leadoff single. Take a look at the Orioles' entire starting lineup, which is presented by BMW. We've already seen Brian Roberts lead off. Then it's Jeff Fiorentino in center. Nick Markakis some bright good numbers against Burnett. Nolan Rymore will clean up. He's in left field. Luke Scott the DH. The rookie Matt Wieters catches. Ty Wigginton, the third baseman, bats 7th. Batting 8th and playing first base. Michael Aubrey and Robert Andino play shortstop. Ethan bat 9th. Robertson threatened to steal with Fiorentino at the plate. Fiorentino has great speed. And there's a strike. 3 starts against the Orioles this year, and Burnett is 2-0 with a 5.09. In his career, he's 9-1 with a 5 even ERA.
Yeah, I still think, Michael, when you watch A.J. Burnett and Yankee fans watching him all year, that curveball is his pitch to set up everything else. And as hard as he throws, and you'll see some 94, 95s, maybe even 96, when he becomes less predictable and hitters don't look for or honor the breaking ball, they can sit on the fastball. Eventually, a good major league hitter will catch up to it. Yeah, Fiorentino, one of the young players that obviously the Orioles are out of it, 57 and 83. They locked down last place in the AL East.
Roberts goes, pitches high, the throw to second, not in time. Well, Roberts got a running jump, and Burnett never looked over, so he's in scoring position now.
Roberts is definitely a base stealer for the Orioles. It's his 29th stolen base, and you saw that little stutter step. What happens is if a pitcher gets in the same timing and doesn't change his cadence, they'll do exactly what Brian Roberts did. Good runners, they'll time his exactly when it comes set, a couple seconds and go.
And the 1-2. Strike 3. Fiorentino down looking. Backdoor breaking ball froze him.
Well, that's a curveball. He throws a spike curveball, but he throws it so hard at times. Looks like he may have gotten a generous strike zone from Wally Bell, home plate umpire. A little off the plate, outside corner. You see that a lot more once upon a time. A young player like a Jeff Fiorentino, veteran pitcher, and A.J. Burnett. The veteran usually got the benefit of the doubt.
And there's a strike to Nick Markakis.
Well, that would look definitely better than what Jeff Fiorentino just saw. Markakis looking back at Wally Bell. This is early in the game, and both sides will establish as to what the umpire is going to call. See how far away you can get away with looking at him without getting tossed.
Line drive right at Cano. Throws to second. A double play. Markakis hit it right on the screws, but right at Cano, who fired to Jeter to end the inning. So for the Orioles, no runs, a hit, and because of this double play, nobody left on base. Orioles nothing, and the Yankees coming to bat. He is now the Yankees all-time hits leader, and now he tries to add his 5th championship to his resume. Let's take a look at the Yankees starting lineup presented by BMW. The captain and the shortstop, Derek Jeter, leads off. Batting second and playing left field is Jerry Hairston Jr. Mark Teixeira at first base will bat third. Cleaning up playing third base, the red-hot Alex Rodriguez. Nick Swisher's in right, batting fifth. Batting sixth and playing second base, Robinson Cano pretty much owns the O's this year. Shelley Duncan will DH. Melky Cabrera in center, and Jose Molina will catch. As you hear the standing ovation for Derek Jeter as he comes up to the plate. So Jeter digs in. Going to make a weird parallel, Al. I think the Yankee fans are falling in love with Derek Jeter all over again. It's almost like the guy's been married to the beautiful woman and takes her for granted. Then all of a sudden sees her in a different light, says, wow, she really is gorgeous. And I think that they've taken Derek Jeter for granted. All he does is do that and pound out hits.
You know, you're so right. What he's meant to this organization and the captain and on and off the field and everything that has led up to this breaking of Lou Gehrig's Yankee all-time hit record. But that's exactly what he's done his entire career. And sometimes you forget what you really have. You become so accustomed to seeing greatness in many of the players, but certainly Derek Jeter heading up this cast of all-stars and future Hall of Famers on this roster at the Yankees now. Fun to watch and fun to be part of history.
That is the 2006 single of his career. Pitch to Hairston is low, 1-0. 34% of his hits have been pulled, 29% to center, 37% to right. Jeter goes. Go to second. Jeter's in there with a stolen base.
Just another part of Derek Jeter's overall aspect of his game. See him jump a little bit there. Mattis held a little bit longer, but it was a good pitch to run on. Derek getting a curveball in the dirt. Watch this breaking ball that ends up being down in the zone enough. And Matt Wieters, the young catcher that the Orioles have, the 26th stolen base for Derek.
You know, we showed those spray charts right there for Jeter. He has 915 opposite field hits in his career. Now, that's the highest in the majors since 1995. But the amazing thing is, the second highest is Pudge Rodriguez, 740. So he's not even close. That inside-outside swing is just the thing that does it for him. Nice bunt by Hairston as Jeter will move to third.
Well done, executed, sacrifice bunt. Whether that was given from the bench of Joe Girardi or he just did it on his own, trying to push an early run here, the Yankees are. Part of the small ball aspect, this team can bang out the home runs with the best of them, but also has this element of their offense. Good to see.
Here's Mark Teixeira. Infield is back, so they'll give up the run on a ground ball. Breaking ball is a strike from Mattis. Teixeira 6 hits in his last 18 at bats and 8 for 24. Count 0-2. .106 ribbies, that leads the league. 35 home runs. Those are the numbers on Mattis. Opponent's batting average against .312. High fly ball, center field. Tagging is Jeter. Fiorentino makes the catch and the throw. Cut off, not in time. Sac fly for Teixeira. Jeter scores, and the Yankees lead 1-0 as they build a run in the first inning.
Well, just watching that inning unfold. Derek Jeter base hit, gets a good jump, steals the bag. You get a sacrifice bunt by Hairston and then a sac fly by Teixeira. I love that element of the Yankee offense, what they can bring. I think there's moments as this season goes down, and certainly when you're facing front-end pitchers in the American League or across baseball, you need to be able to do the small things to push runs.
And the pitch to Alex Rodriguez is a strike. Alex with a towering 3-run home run in the first inning yesterday. And he has 15 hits in his last 29 at bats, so his average up to 286 now.
Let's take a look at the young pitcher, 22-year-old Brian Mattis, G pitcher scatter report. 4-pitch pitcher, we saw it already. Changeup, fastball, slider, curve, very poised. He's only 1 year out of University of San Diego. He was the #1 pick, 4th overall last year.
There's a line drive to left field into the corner. Alex Rodriguez has another hit. And he is going to jog into second with a double.
Alex getting this changeup down and away. Front end was open enough a little bit, but he is able to pull his hands back through the zone. Good hitting based on seeing the ball, carrying it deep in the zone. And I mentioned about Brian Mattis' last point about being a strike thrower. Is only 12 walks, and the poise that this young man has shown. Everybody around Baltimore covering this team and the coaches, they just really think this guy's going to be a special pitcher, including that manager right there, Dave Tremblay.
Well, he's come quickly as well. This year in A-ball and Double-A combined 11-2 with a 1.91 ERA, 121 strikeouts in 113 innings. So he conquered 2 levels, and now the Orioles have him up here in the bigs. With that double, Rodriguez now 11 for his last 19. Here's Swisher. And there's a strike. Great season against Baltimore. 5 of his 26 home runs against the O's. 15 of his 78 ribbies in 16 games against the O's. Towering fly ball to center field. Jeff Fiorentino settles underneath it, and he will put it away for the final out of the inning. But the Yankees lead 1-0, and they built the run the old-fashioned way, a little ABC baseball. A base hit to center field, a stolen base, a sac fly, then brings him in after the sac bunt. Yankees 1-0 over the O's. Picture and Sound HD is free with IOTV. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way. Nolan Reimold leads off. Yankees have a 1-0 lead. And the pitch is inside from Burnett, 1-0. So the Yankees build the run the old-fashioned way in the first inning to hold this 1-0 lead. That one's driven deep to left center field, giving Chase Hairston on the run, looking up. See ya! Home run Reimold, and the game is tied at 1.
Well, Nolan Reimold is one of the young players that this Oriole franchise is looking forward to in the future, and that's a reason why, one of the reasons why he leads all the American League rookies in home runs. He had 14, now this is his 15th. Fastball right down the middle, 1-0. Heater from AJ, just trying to establish strike zone. He likes the ball out over like most big guys. Sending it into the Oriole bullpen.
Here's Luke Scott. Scott hit a monster home run off A.J. Burnett in the start in Baltimore. Almost hit the warehouse down the right field line. Now, last September was the money month for A.J. Burnett when he was with the Blue Jays. He was 2-0 with a 1.82 ERA in 5 games. And there's a strike. That home run by Reimold, the Orioles' first home run since Saturday against Texas. So it snaps a streak of 42 2/3 innings without a home run. And Scott goes down on strike. Second strikeout for A.J. Burnett. IOTV offers you incredible HD picture and sound. HD is free with IOTV, the official HD service provider of Yankees baseball on Yes. Now, A.J. Burnett has never in his career pitched in a postseason game. Now, he was on the Marlins in 2003, but he was on the DL throughout their championship run. And you wonder, Al, you know him. Is he the type of guy that will handle postseason pressure?
Well, the only way you know, Michael, is how you experience it by going through it. And the only concern is that when he gets in trouble, there's a changeup right there. He's primarily a two-pitch pitcher, and I know I beat it to death. There's Dave Island, the pitching coach, is that he is most effective and most dominant when his curveball is thrown for a strike and he utilizes it early in the count and put away. His last start against Tampa, he had 8 strikeouts, all of them on the curveball. 7 of them were swinging, 1 caught looking. And why I say that, because there's moments in the postseason where you have to have other pitches to go to. And if you have your B game, or your A game's not on, you got to go to your B game, and you're resorting to 2 pitches, and one of them is inconsistent. He's got great stuff. There's no doubt about it, that he's a plus-end stuff guy across baseball. And it'll be interesting to watch how he handles when his command is off, as it is in this at-bat against Matt Wieters, and also missing location-wise. And he's a gunslinger. You don't want to take that away from him, but get a little careless in the zone. And when you get careless in the zone, as a power guy as he is, and you miss with your fastball, and that's all they're sitting on, sometimes you give up long fly balls like you just did against Nolan Reimold.
All right, now, this is the one pressing question for me when it comes to A.J. Burnett. You look at his stuff, it's filthy. Ball players marvel at the stuff that he has. So my question is, Al, why is he only 98 and 84 in his career?
Inconsistency. Some point, and I do believe what A.J. experienced with Roy Halladay, and just watching Roy Halladay with the Toronto Blue Jays and how he handled himself at work, you eventually evolved. And I think A.J.'s not there yet. I mean, he definitely had a breakthrough year last year, almost winning 20 games, and end up having the numbers to correlate. And that's important for guys that have always had great stuff. Man, A.J. Burnett, he's got unbelievable arm when he puts it together. And he did last year. Actually, for the first time in his career.
18 and 10, yeah. 4.07.
So then there's something to build on. Obviously, got a nice contract with the Yankees. Everybody in the game loves his stuff. I think he's not there in the sense that you have to identify when your fastball is not on, at least command-wise, or even velocity, that you have to have the confidence in your other pitches. And I think that is fleeting for him. It comes and goes.
Here's what concerns me, though, Al. He's 32 years old. And, you know, the old Bill Parcells line, you are what your record says you are. How come he hasn't found consistency yet at 32 with the stuff that he has, which is really great? And this is his last 4 seasons.
Well, I have to go. I was one that it took a while to figure out. I never threw 95 to 100 miles an hour as AJ has.
There's a base hit for Ty Wigginton.
I think there's another element to the game, and I don't want to keep going back to Roy Halladay, but I know he's a big metal guru kind of guy with, you know, with the mindset and, you know, this pitch and this moment. And I think if you watch AJ's games, you know, where you just get a little careless, this was a tighter breaking ball, may have been a slider middle of the plate. And that's it. The execution of making your pitch. And we could watch these games enough to where, you know, is it on the corner? Is it close to the corner? And of course, AJ, because of his stuff, he doesn't have to lay on the corner as much as a guy throwing 88 miles an hour.
And I want to stress, by no means am I disparaging what he's done this year. He's 11-8, 4.19. He's been a joy in the clubhouse for the Yankees. He's been a big reason for their togetherness. He's the guy with the pie throwing and all of that. I understand. But his stuff sets the expectation bar so high that the fact that he doesn't have 17, 18 wins right now makes you think he's not having a good year. The fact that he went from July 27th till his last start without a victory makes you think he's not having a good year. He's not having a bad year, but his stuff would almost say he should be having a great year.
You know, you make a great point, and it's valid, and it is absolutely true. And AJ would even tell you that. If he was looking here, knowing him coming, how he came off of the year last year with the 18 wins and sitting at 11-8, you know, you mentioned over the last 7 starts, 5 of them were quality. He got no decision, went into the 8th inning, only 1 hit against Boston.
The 1-2. But in that Boston game, he also walked 6.
Well,
that's a little bit of a concern.
Okay, there's no doubt the inconsistency. 3 starts ago, 12 strikeouts against Texas, 6 innings, 3 runs. The Yankees end up losing that game 7-2. And I think it just keeps going back to a consistent second and third pitch. And when he has that, he's dominant. Completely. Like, put away hitters like they're not even major league hitters.
That one is looped into right field. It is a base hit. Matt Wieters is going to be held at third as Teixeira cuts the ball off. So now the Orioles have the bases loaded with 1 out. Michael Aubrey with a single.
Let's go take a look at the pitch by pitch that Michael Aubrey just pounds his own right ahead, gets ahead. That's a little curveball, more of a slider. That gets a good paint pitch there. Fastball away, 1-2, foul the pitch, and looked like a changeup. Either took a little bit off or tried to sink it. That ball down and in. Nice 2-strike approach from Michael Aubrey.
You know, we were talking with Girardi about this, and before the game, Joe said, "No, I think he's pitched well," and he detailed just what you detailed. You know, the quality starts, but they do pay off on wins in this league. And I would think that a pitcher's mindset would dictate he's got to get wins to just reinforce that the things he's doing happen to be the right things to do. I think A.J. Burnett needs to get some wins in September.
I agree. And there's, look, the Yankees are absolutely going to lean on him in the postseason. And, you know, whether he settles out as 2 or 3 or, you know, wherever that's going to fall out, he's going to get some postseason starts. So, and there's nothing worse than finishing out your year not feeling good about what you're doing going into a postseason experience. And it will be his first postseason experience, assuming that the Yankees continue to do what they're doing.
Count 1-0 on Andino. Wieters at third, Wigginton at second, and Aubrey is at first. Count 1-1. There's that fastball, 94 miles an hour.
You know, and he's got a lot of moving parts. When he was with the Marlins, he used to turn, had a little Louis Tion or Kevin Brown, and really experimented often with tinkering with his motion. And you know, his delivery really is kind of a little bit of a right to left delivery, and sometimes there's a propensity to have a different release point. And ultimately, that's what a pitcher tries to do. That's what I marvel about Mariano Rivera. I mean, the same exact delivery every single pitch, which is why he's amazing in what he does and consistent. I think sometimes AJ gets a little bit side to side, and because of that, he loses his angle from where his release point is on his fastball and his curveball.
That was Burnett's 36th pitch. And the count 2-2. .23 strikes. And of the 36 pitches, 24 this inning. It's 1-1 game. Nolan Reimold led off the inning with a home run. Now bases loaded, 1 out. A 2-2. High fly ball, shallow right field. That's going to be trouble, and it's going to dunk in for a base hit. Wieters scores. Wigginton will go to third. Aubrey to second. A bloop RBI single by Andino. And now the Orioles lead 2-1.
Well, Andino getting his fastball middle of the plate. Looks like a good pitch to drive. Just actually peels off of it. Gets a little blooper. Nick Swisher And we'll see where he's coming from. Regular straightaway right field, just perfectly placed for Andino and the Orioles. One of those frustrating hits if you're A.J. Burnett. Andino's first RBI since July 5th.
Bases remain loaded. Here's Brian Roberts. And there's a strike on the breaking ball. Another breaking ball, too far inside and low on the count, 1-1. Count 1-2. This is his third year, 50 doubles or more, and he leads the American League in that category. Teammate Nick Markakis is tied with Dustin Pedroia for fourth.
Yeah, and Kevin Yards isn't really a big gap-to-gap doubles field. I mean, he's got the mindset. Even that ball at first base hit he got, he was thinking double right out of the box, aggressive return.
Check out the umpires today. Wally Bell's behind the plate. Marty Foster at first. Mark Carlson at second. And Kerwin Danley over at third. And Wally Bell is the crew chief. High fly ball. Deep right. Swisher back. Looking up. See ya. A grand slam off the bat of Brian Roberts. And the Orioles lead 6-1.
Well, Roberts getting a fastball down and in. That's a spot where most left-handed hitters love that area. Ball, generally what you try to do is to get up and in on the hands for A.J. Burnett's sake. It's his 15th home run of the year. 14 of them have been as a left-hander, Brian Roberts.
And the pitch Fiorentino takes for a strike. And for Brian Roberts, his 5th career grand slam. So A.J. Burnett struggling in the first inning. 2 hard hit balls. He did strike out Fiorentino looking, and this inning it's kind of unraveled. Slap the other way, giving Chase Hairston into the corner, and it hits on the top of the wall, foul. Well, you see the way A.J.'s been pitching, Al, and I know that you detailed the quality starts. Well, this is certainly not a quality start. Andy Pettit has been great. Yesterday he was not great, although he left after 5 innings with a lead. And the question is, who starts game 2 and who starts game 3? Because if you take the playoff series with the extra day rest, you only need 3 pitchers, and your game 2 starter gets 2 starts, and your game 3 starter just gets that 1.
I think it's going to come down as to what the Joe Girardi and the coaching staff think who is their most consistent pitcher.
Well, it's got to be Andy Pettit.
Well, I think there'll be a matchup issue. Looks like if the playoffs were to start today, it'd be the Tigers. So I'm sure they'll look into that. But yeah, I mean, you want to make sure, and even as a player, starting pitcher, you got to feel good about what you're doing going into postseason, and to be struggling along at the end there in September and maybe have a couple good starts and bad starts. You do not want to go into that postseason start feeling like you're not on.
High fly ball, right field. Swisher will make the play on the warning track for the second out.
I mean, so far, I've been watching velocity-wise, it really becomes a command issue. A command issue with his location of his fastball, and then ultimately how he finishes hitters. And that's what I think is so frustrating to watch A.J., because he can be so dominant in games and then lose it and just miss completely.
There's a strike.
He was at 94, 95. I mean, that's about his comfortable fastball velocity.
the 0-1. 1-1.
You know, at this point for Dave Island, you just watch, you work on the side, and you look at some video as to what you try to do to correct your pitcher. But unless a coach sees something really glaring that you worked on 2 days ago, which is generally you start day off and then have your side day, that he can pick something up. But this is usually you watch, and maybe you're going to talk about it the next day around the bucket during batting practice.
50 pitches, and he has really built up a high pitch count this inning. And Josh Towers getting ready in a hurry. Just missed. Now AJ gave up more than 5 runs just once in his first 20 starts. Now this is the 4th time, Al, in his last 9 starts he's allowed more than 5 runs. That's not a good trend. The 2-2. And the count 3-2.
Well, and to look into each start, Michael, you mentioned, pulled out the Red Sox no decision where he went into the 8th inning, 6 walks. You could be wild in the zone. Even after those 6 walks, he had 4 of them with 2 walks.
There's a ground ball to Jeter, and that's going to do it. A 41 pitch inning, 41 pitches, and it started poorly as Nolan Reimold tied the game by leading off the second with a home run. Later in the inning, a grand slam off the bat of Brian Roberts. After the carnage was done, it's 6-1 O's. It happened last night. Derek Jeter with that patented inside-out swing breaks the tie with Lou Gehrig and stands alone on the Yankees' all-time hits list. Got a huge, rousing ovation from the crowd over 2.5 minutes, and it would have gone longer, but they had a baseball game to play. That is our G moment. Well, now the Yankees have to think, gee, why is A.J. Burnett struggling so much? Gives up 6 runs on 41 pitches in the second inning. So the Yankees have a bit of a mountain to climb. And the 1-0 to Cano. 2-0. High fly ball, left field. Reimold goes into the stands and makes the play. Nice play by Nolan Reimold.
Wow, this is an effort right here from the young rookie. Keeps his eye on the ball at visiting ballpark, doesn't know how far he has to go, smashing into that little fence there. Lucky for him, there's some considerable padding. Great play. Wow. Showing the umpire that he held on to the ball. All out effort. That's what they love about this young man. He's actually got a frayed tendon in his Achilles, and they said that he needs some sort of surgery, but he's still able to obviously run around the way he's doing to finish out the year. But you talk about a gamer.
Here's Shelley Duncan. Shelley has spent most of the season, except for a day in Chicago in AAA, and was the International League MVP. Yankees called him up, and the next day he was sent down, but at least got on a Major League dental plan. The 1-0. And the count 1-1.
Then medical?
Yeah. And that means a lot. You know, we're kind of saying it flippantly, but it really does. The Major League Baseball players, if you're on the roster, have a tremendous medical plan.
What a year for Shelley. What a reward, too. He, a couple years ago, came on and did an excellent job for the Yankees. And, you know, sometimes you get labeled as that 4A player, but for him to do what he did for Scranton and be rewarded with the call-up. And as Michael said, he was called up for a day. And if you're on a minor league roster, it's different than obviously the major league players, not only in salary but benefits. And you spend one day in the big leagues, you're part of benefit plans and other perks.
Strike three. Duncan down looking. Let's take a look at tomorrow's starting pitchers, brought to you by Verizon Fios. This is Fios. This is big. Jeremy Guthrie, 10 and 13, 4.96. And CC Sabathia, 16 and 7, 3.40. We have the BP show at noon. We have the pregame show at 12:30, and first pitch will be right around 107, 108.
CC will be pushing down September for Cy Young Award consideration. I put Zach Greinke along with Justin Verlander in that talk.
Count 2-0 to Cabrera.
Mattis just throws just hard enough that, you know, when he was drafted, they said, "Oh, wait do you see the poise of this young man? He's got a great curveball, a great changeup." And you think 4th overall in the draft, you want a good fastball. But I could see why the Oriole coaching staff is excited about him, because at this age and not that much experience in college last year, Dave Tremblay said, "You flinched, Wally." Home plate umpire.
Count 3-2.
And you just don't see that. But you know, some pitchers, when they have to pitch for all the way along, you know, little league, high school, college, they really understand about location and changing speeds.
Grounded to second. Roberts is there, and Mattis works a 1-2-3 second inning in stark contrast to the top of the inning. Nice play by Reimold as we go to the third. Third inning, Yankees are trailing 6-1, and there's a shot of the Mohegan Sun Sports Bar situated in center field at the new Yankee Stadium. The Mohegan Sun Sports Bar is a great place to gather and enjoy the game. Mohegan Sun, a world at play. 6-1. Orioles lead, and Burnett deals, and Reimold swings and misses on the Modell scoreboard. 6-6-0, leading 1-2-0. Modell's the official sporting goods retailer of the New York Yankees. Now, one thing that this start tells you, and maybe finally it could put to rest people that are always looking for scapegoats. Well, the reason that A.J. Burnett hasn't been pitching well is Jorge Posada behind the plate. You know, obviously they don't have a good rapport. He keeps shaking him off. They should use Jose Molina. I mean, that's all I hear, Al, on the talk show that I do. That's all. Well, here it is. Jose Molina is a great defensive catcher, and A.J. Burnett has had a terrible game. So is it the catcher or is it the pitcher?
It's the pitcher. Come on. Look, catchers, and I'm a little bit different because I went into scouting reports, Michael, a lot different than a lot of pitchers. Their pitchers are just would rely on the catcher, which is fine.
As Reimold could not hold up.
Marty Foster, first base umpire. It's a suggestion. You go through scouting report. You sit down. You know, I haven't spoken to AJ as to, you know, what his approach is as far as looking at video and reports and et cetera. But when they put the number down, you don't have to throw it. You can shake. It's okay. And actually, I used to like that because I just felt like I was into the game more because I had the plan. And, yeah, there's no question about it. At the end, this is the pitchers. The win-loss is next to his name. The ERA is right next to his name. And it is just a suggestion as to what the catcher thinks is the pitch to throw.
High fly ball deep left. Going back is Hairston, and he makes the play right in front of the wall. Scott showing great power the other way for the second out.
Yeah, Luke Scott has been a dead red pull hitter in his career. That fastball was outer half and up a little bit, but also too, in addition to that, Michael, it's a command thing. Major league hitters, if you stay on the middle third of the plate, you're going to get hit hard. I don't care if you have A.J. Burnett's fastball, Hairston drifting back to the wall. You see the glove where Molina is, and do you hit it? And yes, at 95, you're going to get a Matt Wieters to swing through it. But if you consistently miss your location, balls will get hit hard. Especially if you become very predictable in throwing one pitch, primarily, that you can throw for strikes on given days.
High fly ball, deep right center. Cabrera back. He's on the track, and he makes the play in front of the wall, using up a lot of the ballpark to get those 3 outs. But he does work an 8-pitch, 1-2-3, third inning. We go to the bottom of the third. Yankees are down 6-1 here on Yes. And here are your choices: his offense, his defense, his durability, or his leadership. You can text your vote to 58772. Standard text messaging rates apply.
Good question.
I think I'd say his durability, because I think it leads him to excel in the other things as well. You can lead when you're on the field every day. Your offense and defense improves when you play every single day. So I think I'll go with that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Modell's scoreboard 6-1 O's over the Yankees. Modell's the official sporting goods retailer of the New York Yankees. Now, we go to the bottom of the third, and Jose Molina leads off. Now, I wanted to finish my point about the catcher. At no point, to his credit, has A.J. Burnett said it's Jorge Posada's fault. It's the armchair quarterbacks that say it. That's the one, everybody has to have a reason for somebody not doing well. Burnett's never said it. In fact, he's gone out of his way to ask Joe Torre, I want Posada to catch me. So A.J. has never used that as an excuse, but a lot of people do. And the pitch to Molina is outside.
Well, and he's not showing this emotion today so far, but he had some games. I know the one in the Boston where he was like pointing to his head and like, why did I throw that pitch? And but I can relate to that because I used to second guess myself all the time. And if you show those emotions and expressions on the field, there's plenty of cameras that are going to pick it up, and then the assumptions start.
Molina fouls it away. Molina 6 hits in his last 18 at bats, hitting .248.
Well, that .248, but Michael, as you know, the importance of what he means to a pitching staff. And the ERA catcher, his ERA as a catcher is .347, and any backup catcher will tell you that it's much more important than a feel-good day for him to catch a shutout than to get 3 hits and a couple RBIs. That's just the way they're conditioned over the years.
Ground ball is short. Andino bobbles, but he has time. And Molina beat it out. Molina hustling and going as hard as he can go. Beat it out, so it's an E6 on Andino.
Well, Andino, I think he knew and anticipated that Molina wasn't quite as fast, but at the very end there, he still took his time, and Molina being able to beat it out as he was able to not get a handle on it. Maybe he wasn't taking his time. It just, even after he got a handle on it, looked like he didn't have a good grip. Molina doing the best he can to busting it down the line. And that is real speed.
So here's Derek Jeter. He singled, stole a base, and scored on a sac fly in the first inning. And Derek, seeing that Wigginton is way back at third, shows bump of the pitch outside.
Wiggy stayed back. Ty Wigginton stayed back. Now he's coming up a little bit. But for Derek Jeter, yeah, you have a free hit over there.
Now he's showing Jeter that he's up. And then when the pitch is about to be delivered, he backpedals about 5. So that's where he ends up. So Derek, if he gets the bunt down, is going to get a hit. And that was a hit that broke the 0 for 12 slide for Jeter. He laid down a bunt, and everything fell into place. So now the count 3-0 on Mattis. Lays it right over the middle of the plate for a strike. Molina leads off first. Got a live 92. He's thrown it past people. Now watch the eyes on Jeter. He always knows what's going on. He checked the third baseman. That little point showed him that he was backing up, and Jeter laid down a bunt. And that was the first of 3 hits that night. That tied Lou Gehrig. And yesterday was the tie-breaking hit. The 3-2. Looped right at Brian Roberts as Molina heads back. So down 3-0 in the count to Jeter. Mattis battles back, and then Jeter loops one to Brian Roberts, one away.
Yeah, there's a sneaky quickness about Mattis so far. Watching him, the radar gun is not going to be lit up with some impressive numbers, but the way he kind of comes out of his delivery, He's been working on trying to keep his arm up a little higher, get a better arm angle so he can work downhill better. Big curveball there. Jerry Hairston did not like the call from Wally Bell.
Popped up. And Michael Aubrey makes the play for the second out. Got to bring up Mark Teixeira, picked up his 107th ribby in the first inning with a sac fly. Orioles lead 6-1. We're in the bottom of the third inning. Rip foul. Lights are on here at the stadium. They have been since the first pitch. It's an overcast day. The sun nowhere to be seen. Yesterday, pretty much a miserable day throughout. And the start of the game yesterday delayed an hour and 27 minutes. And then later on, a long rain delay in the 7th inning as well. So it was a late night for a lot of people. Talked to Joe Girardi before the game, and Al, you know, Joe is kind of a health nut, doesn't really eat bad things. And I said, how much sleep did you get? He said, about 4 hours. I said, you tired? He goes, now don't tell anybody I had like a whole bowl of Apple Jacks. He said, I needed the sugar. Crazy. So Joe eating Apple Jacks is wild, man. So I'm not supposed to tell anybody. The 0-2. And the count 1-2.
Don't tell anyone.
And the 1-2 pitch. Grounded foul.
Well, also, he took all the starters out except Gardner, Melky, and Matsui, and they were allowed to go home. Did a little post-game interview during the rain delay.
And the pitch. 2-2. Have you ever had Apple Jacks, Al?
I don't like Apple Jacks.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a Lucky Charms guy.
Yes, you are.
The marshmallows. You've had Lucky Charms, have you?
I like Fruit Loops.
You are.
That one's grounded softly to third. Wigginton. And that'll do it. So the rookie Mattis survives the E6. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 1 man left. We go to the 4th at 6-1 O's. On August 21st, 1998, Cal Ripken Jr. became the Orioles' all-time hits leader with 2849. Which Oriole did he pass? Do you know this, Al?
Uh-huh.
Really? You sure?
No.
Well, get a bowl of Lucky Charms and see if you can jumpstart the brain cells.
Okay there, Fruit Loop.
Here's Ty Wigginton. Bottom third of the Orioles order. And a high fly ball. Shallow left. Hairston. Wow, Wind really took that for the first out. Flags are blowing straight in, and it seemed like it affected that one.
What's deceiving, too, is we just saw the flags that just kind of gently blowing in the wind, but this is more than a gentle wind. Anytime you see the outfielder there, Jerry Hairston coming back, he's saying, hey, wait a minute, where are you, Derek? Well, up there's a little different. Pushing in hard. It's a factor early on.
And Aubrey fouls it away. Al, what keeps a team like the Orioles playing? You aren't on many bad teams, but you are on some. What keeps a team playing in September when they have no chance whatsoever?
Pride. You're getting paid. You're showing your organization, if you're a young player, that you belong in the major leagues. You're also showing scouts behind home plate. Your manager, coaching staff, general manager. You know, for older players that have been around a while, you know, that are established and are a multi-year contracted. When I say it's a little harder, only because you're out of it. You know, you play for championships, you play for postseason, you play for opportunity to have meaningful games in September. But then you fight through that. You realize, okay, look, this is my job. And it really is about winning a game.
Alex Rodriguez cannot make the play. It snaps at the ball in disgust. That ball was kind of in the stands, and the wind blew it back, and then Alex tried to make an over-the-shoulder catch.
Well, I think you're right. I think initially Alex, well, it picked up a little bit late there, realized that maybe he thought it was going to go into the stands. You see, he looks at the stands, and then he kind of has to check up a little bit here. I think when he looked at the stands, he kind of lost track of it. And you run it on your heels, and you bounce, and your eyes bounce a little bit, you don't really get a good view of it. Taught to run on the ball of your feet so that your head doesn't move as much while you're running. I also think, Michael, you know, if you look at the lineup today, Brian Roberts, Nick Markakis, Luke Scott, Ty Wigginton, the rest of the guys are either rookies or close to it. Playing to show that you're a big league player.
A-Rod might get another chance. 2 away. Well, as the playoffs get closer, you don't have to miss an inning with live YES Network games on your PCs and laptops. If you're a Verizon Fios TV customer with Fios Internet who watches YES, log on to YesNetwork.com, Yankees.com, or Verizon.net/YES to get more information and sign up for your subscription now. Here's Andino. Missed outside.
But also, too, your question of how many teams out of spring training, when you look at your roster and you know the division you're in, and you say, we got to have everybody just on. Young players just dominate in order to compete. I mean, it's becoming less and less. You look across baseball, there's more 500 teams, and the fact that you have a wild card team, it's made it exciting for opportunities for lesser teams, or at least lesser payroll teams, to make it.
That one is looped to right field. Coming on Swisher, and he makes the play. And Burnett has retired. 8 in a row. Another 1-2-3 inning, and he did it on 10 pitches. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Did he pass? The answer is Brooks Robinson. And here's Alex Rodriguez, who idolized Cal Ripken Jr. And A-Rod swings and misses.
Had Eddie Murray not left the Orioles, he probably would have been the guy that Cal beat out.
And that's a pretty nice resume right there.
The Iron Man.
Count 1-1. It'll be A-Rod, Swisher, and Cano. A-Rod has the average now up to 288. And so far this month, 459, 2 homers and 13 ribbies, so finishing strong. Count 2-1. Alex Rodriguez in his last 65 games is hitting .332, 16 homers, and 55 runs batted in. High fly ball, right field. Markakis there. 1 out. And also since that time, which was on June 24th, he has more home runs than Mark Teixeira, 16 to 15.
And what he's meant for Mark Teixeira and everybody in the lineup. He's a great player, going to go down as one of the greatest, and just having to navigate through the Yankee lineup, even without him in there, is difficult enough for American League pitchers, but he just adds another dimension. And, you know, he's got a shot at getting the 100 RBIs. 83, no question about it, after missing all that time.
Not only did he miss the 28 games because of the hip surgery, and he probably rushed himself back, but he's missed more games than he normally would because now he's under the program where he has to miss a game a week, or at least have a day off a week. For the rest of the season, though, the Yankees have Thursdays off, so that could serve as his day off. Count 1-1.
So 20 more games.
Yep.
Actually 19 after today. Yeah, he's kind of have a
RBI game.
Yes, he does.
Tomorrow on Yes, don't miss an all-new WB Mason presents the Joe Girardi Show. Get the manager's thoughts on the recent homestand. Plus, as the playoffs get closer, here are Joe's plans for the coming weeks. It's an all-new Joe Girardi Show tomorrow at 5, only on Yes. You mentioned Alex. Alex has 83 ribbies now, and today is only his 107th game. And it's the Yankees' 143rd game. Popped up. Aubrey, 2 outs. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Here's Cano. And there's a strike. Sky to left, Reimold, and a 1-2-3 inning for the rookie Mattis. We played 4 here at the stadium, and the Yankees are trailing this one 6-1 as we move to the 5th. sure do, and so do the Yankees. They're down 6-1, Bob, as we go to the fifth on the Lexus scoreboard. 6-6-1, beating 1-2-0. Brian Roberts has struck the big blow in this game, a grand slam in the second inning. Made a 2-1 game 6-1. That's where we stand right now. Roberts is 2 for 2 against A.J. Burnett. So Burnett had that 41 pitch inning in the second when he gave up all 6 runs, but he has certainly been economical since then. 1, 2, 3, third inning, 8 pitches. 1, 2, 3, fourth inning on 10 pitches. So he's at 73, which is not that bad in the fifth.
Yeah, well, it's important, Michael, for A.J. Burnett to find something out of a bad start. When you give up a 6 spot in the second inning, you try to find some good out of it.
On the run is Cabrera. He does. He can't make the play. It gets by him, and it goes to the wall. And Brian Roberts is going to stop at second with his 51st double of the year. And he's a triple away from the cycle.
Thought with Melky diving here, this is a changeup, which is only one of a few that he's thrown. 2 or 3 before that. Good hitting right there. Brian Roberts getting out of the box. Melky making a nice effort here, diving just out of the reach. Roberts realizing this, he looked like he contemplated a bit there to probably try to see if he could go for third, but with Hairston backing up nicely, chose otherwise.
Here's Fiorentino. So that breaks a streak of 8 straight in a row for Burnett. That's a career high for Brian Roberts, and also the Orioles franchise high, 51 doubles. Still got a lot of games to play. Al said that's one of the players that the Orioles have made a commitment to, a 4-year deal. They also made a commitment to Markakis, a 6-year deal. And I'm sure they're working on one for Adam Jones, their center fielder, who's going to miss the rest of the year with a high ankle sprain. Hot shot and grabbed beautifully by Cano. One away as Roberts advances the third.
Fiorentino getting a pitch that he could pull to the right side of the infield. Robinson Cano making a nice play, backing up on it so that he gets a good angle. Such a good player, both left and right, and a strong, accurate throw.
So now the Yankees bring the infield in, can't afford to give up any more runs. And Nick Markakis steps to the plate. He's 0 for 2, lined into a double play in the first and grounded to short in the second. And that one's grounded to Jeter. Holds the runner at third. 2 outs.
Good opportunity for A.J. Burnett. The Yankees infield in. Across the board, Major League Baseball, the average goes up 100 points. Reinhold in his first at bat, way back in the Orioles bullpen. 18th home run of the year, leading all American League rookies. It's at 18th, 15th home run.
Reinhold won at 18. Glad you said that. Check swing. And there's a strike.
Good pitch. A fastball count. This good spot right here for AJ to work out of a situation where the run could easily have scored with the 1 out. Now with 2 outs, you're thinking holding him there. 2-0 curveball, throws for a strike. Now comes back again with the same pitch.
Reinhold, impressive numbers for a rook, but he's hitting just 194 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. And he walks this time. Al, they say that those are the back-breaking hits for pitchers, though. They have 2 outs. They want to get that out with runners in scoring position. If you can get that guy out, you feel better about things. He gets a base hit, it's a backbreaker.
Well, and it's a money player. You're right. And what happens is when you realize it as a pitcher, that's your, not that you're not bearing down early in the count, but there's definitely a flow to an inning to where you throw in areas where you don't think a guy can hit out of the park with nobody on. You get a lot of easy outs that way over the course of a season. But then obviously with runners in scoring position, that's when you bear down, you focus a little different, you really pitch to hitters' weaknesses, and maybe you go out of your game plan a little bit and pitch backwards more often in those situations. As we saw with Reimold, he got behind 2-0 and then threw a 2-0 curveball for a strike, threw another one to get him in a bad count 3-1, just missing on a fastball away.
A strike to Scott.
Luke Scott's, you see, again, same situation. AJ, fastball pitcher, behind in the count 1-0, comes back with a nice cold strike curveball, makes him much less predictable as to what he's going to throw.
Scott struck out in the second. Deep fly ball to left field in the third. You've got Roberts at third and Reimold at first. 2 men out, top of the 5th inning. Orioles 6, Yankees 1 here at the stadium. And Burnett deals. Breaking ball, sky to deep left center. Drifting back is Cabrera, and he's there in front of the warning track for the final out of the 5th. So they survive the leadoff double. No runs a hit, 2 men left. We're halfway through it. 6-1 O's. J&R Music and Computer World, and by Ford, the official truck of the New York Yankees. Shelley Duncan leads off against Brian Mattis, and the pitch inside. Lexus scoreboard 6-1, O's over the Yankees. Popped up behind the plate, and Wieters gives it a look. I asked Joe Girardi this question before the game today, Al. I said that the Jeter attention was something that kind of wore off on the whole team. You know, everything was exciting. There was, as you said on the open, Al, it was kind of a playoff atmosphere here. And I was wondering if there was going to be a letdown now for the team, that they'd somehow have to find that motivation in other places. He said, no, I don't think so, because I thought that was a, he said, it's a personal record. He said, and it's a team game, which I understand. But I respectfully disagree with him, because I think that it's hard to recreate that sort of buzz that Jeter's record chase brought. And now that buzz isn't here today. You don't feel a buzz today.
And how about the Baltimore Orioles are in town?
Right.
One of the worst records in baseball, certainly last place in the AL East with 57 and 83. Yeah, you know what? Well, Joe's obviously going to support his team and not have it be seen that it's not a matter of preparation.
Popped up on the bat of Duncan, and a nice play by Roberts.
But I think, to your point, it'd be hard not to. It was very exciting leading up to Derek's at bat, and ultimately his hit. And definitely the flash bulbs and everything to it had a playoff experience. But it's not long term. I mean, there's no question about it. Joe Girardi and the Yankees, they're 6 games up in the American League on the Angels with the best record in the AL, and they want to make sure that stays the way it is, so that they would have home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs. And with the AL winning the All-Star game, they would have the home field advantage in that as well.
That is something that they could play for, and they haven't put the Red Sox to sleep yet. I mean, the Red Sox are not in good shape, 7 games back in the loss column, but the chase is going to be with the Angels. And the Angels are just 4 games back in the loss column from the Yankees. They come in on Monday to make up a rain out, and then the Yankees next weekend head out to the West Coast, 3 games against Seattle, and then 3 games in Anaheim. So it's going to be a double-edged sword for them, because not only do they want to hold off the Angels for the best record in the American League, which means they have home field throughout the playoffs, but I think it's a mental aspect too. Everybody says, well, they can't beat the Angels. Well, let's see if they can beat the Angels. They have 4 games left. So far, they're 2-4 in 6 games against them.
And it does become a little bit of a mental grind when you know a certain team has beaten you, and you try to figure out different ways to change the formula, and you don't want to get caught up in that. Oh boy, the Angels, they got our number, or vice versa, however that is. And the Yankees have to not obviously have that creep in their head, but it's just a good ball club. Like Scioscia's always done things a little differently as far as.
Molina lines one to center. Fiorentino makes the play. We'll celebrate the inaugural season of Yankee Stadium tomorrow, September 13th, when the Yankees take on the O's. The first 18,000 fans in attendance are going to receive a Yankees knit cap, courtesy of Starter. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com. Visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. Here's Jeter. He's 1 for 2. Jeter needs 3 more home runs, and the Yankees would have 8 players with 20 more home runs, and that would be a new Major League record. Now they have 7, and that's tied a Major League record. Strike. And people don't realize the logistics of playoffs as well. If you know, and you see that list of all that have hit 20 or more, if you know that you can have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, it takes away so much uncertainty. Well, where are we going after this? What if we lose this game? Well, do we go to Anaheim, or do we? Well, if you have the best record, and now the American League won the All-Star game, so you know the World Series starts in New York. Yankees know they make the playoffs, boom. The first series starts in New York. The second series would start in New York. The World Series would start in New York. They don't have to overpack. They don't have to pack for cold weather. Again, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is a big deal when you can relieve layers of concern from players' minds. So that's why it is a big deal. Yeah,
and most teams play better at home as well. I definitely, I know as a pitcher, the backdrop, the slope of the mound, and just guys in the hitting batter's box, they the batter's eye behind, and just home cooking. Yankees 49-21 home, 42-30 on the road. I mean, you look at some of your division leaders, Michael. The Tigers 45-23 at home, 30-42. Division leader, and they're 12 games under 500. Angels are about the same, 43 wins home, 42 on the road.
Fisted a ground ball to Roberts, and he'll get Jeter for the final out of the 5th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and one man left on base. This kid's pitching a 2-hitter, Mattis says, against the Yankees. Since the 2nd inning, it's 6-1 Baltimore over the Yankees. And there's a strike to Wieters. High fly ball, shallow left. And A-Rod makes a nice play this time. And even he likes it.
Nice play. Got an early look going to the foul territory area and just tracked it nicely. Oh, he's saying, oh, I got it. See Jerry Hairston not far enough away. Obviously, it's only going to be Alex's ball. He's fired up. That's great.
Attaboy. Well, you know, A-Rod has that football background. Although he used to throw the passes, and Doug Mankiewicz would catch him. That was like a first down. Wigginton swings and misses.
Corner of the end zone, staying in.
Yeah, keep the feet in.
Speaking of football, tomorrow. Go Big Blue. Tracks it right there early on. He's seeing where he's at, and then it's just a matter over the shoulder, staying in the end zone. Touchdown.
You play any football?
I did.
In high school?
Uh-huh.
Really? They let you play, although you were a top prospect?
End. I played from Pop Warner from 4th, 5th grade right on up until my sophomore year. I hurt my knee on a play, and I didn't play my junior. I missed it so much I played my senior year.
You were a defensive end?
Yes.
So you were like the stray hand of Tom Trevor?
Kind of. Maybe 100 pounds less. Yeah.
So you would tackle the quarterback and all?
Yeah, I loved it.
Well, why didn't you play quarterback with your arm?
They wanted me to, but I had to spend too much time with the coaches and actually be really into it. We used to have a play where they would give me like an auxiliary shirt, and if it was the end of the half or the end of the game, and it was a Hail Mary, just a bomb, because I could throw pretty far, that was one of the plays.
Josh Towers warming for the Yanks.
Of course, I was 79, so if you're in the backfield, you had to wear a number under, I think I was number 30. You play?
Just in the streets. Go to the sewer, make a button hook.
behind the car to the sewer manhole.
You laugh, but that's what we did in the Bronx. You know, we play it down, cars would go by, play another down, cars would go by, go to the Chevy, make a left.
We do that in the suburbs too.
Did you have manhole covers out?
Yeah, we sure we did. Yeah.
South Jersey, yeah?
Yes, right down the center of the road, Michael. So you were deep, what, tight end or wide receiver?
Quarterback. I had to get on. Get on now. 1-2. Foul off. Well, Burnett has rebounded from that second inning, but you know what? He's about to throw his 100th pitch. That second inning, it's in a playoff game. It could end up ending your season, so you can't have that sort of inning. So he's bounced back. He saved the bullpen about 4 innings, but the Yankees are still trailing 6-1. 6-1 against the Tigers in the ALDS might cost you your season. So he's got to tighten it up and not have that inning.
There's no doubt about it, and just from watching today's game, it's just a matter of him being inconsistent with his fastball, command location on both sides of the plate, really, not only inside but away as well.
So Michael Aubrey strikes out. Another 1-2-3 inning for A.J. Burnett, and it all started with A.J. Burnett having Alex Rodriguez haul in the pass and Derek Jeter with a big smile. Not much to smile about other than that today. Gutless. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning here at the stadium. The Orioles lead the Yankees 6-1. Brian Mattis has been impressive. He'll face 2, 3, and 4 in the Yankee order. And the lefty deals. There's a strike. Tell me about Mattis. What are you seeing so far? What do you like?
Well, 4 pitches, Michael, and what he's doing is that he's got a sneaky fastball, throws across his body a little bit, and he's used his curveball, his slider, and a changeup effectively. In his previous at bat, Jerry Harrison got a little first pitch curveball as he just did there. He's throwing strikes. He's established it, getting ahead. And then he's using that changeup. Now, this is the same combination here. This is going to be a little changeup down the way. Now, look, it's perfect. Perfect location. Jerry Harrison now takes the pitch on the corner. Very economical. 75 pitches here in the 6th inning. That's very impressive. I could see why everybody around the Orioles is really excited about this guy, because he's pitching way beyond his years. You hear that often, but he is. That's a paint. So he's shown a first pitch curveball strike, comes back with a beautiful changeup, and now he's just trying to expand the zone a little bit off the plate. Has a definite clue and idea how to pitch.
shattered bat and a ground ball to third. Wigginton gets Hairston. One away. Yankees baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by your tri-state area Audi dealers. Audi, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Yankees.
Michael K. fan club. There they are.
You know what? Those people actually showed up at the center stage the other day. We taped 2 center stages, Smokey Robinson and Tino Martinez. And they brought me a gift. They said that we actually exist and we do like you, because I surmised on the air they probably don't like me.
So these 4 right here?
Yeah. And the young lady has the hair extensions in her hair.
Now, is it more than the 4 part of the club?
I think it's just 4.
Just
a very limited club.
Well, your sister's probably part of it, right?
Oh,
is there
yeah,
membership?
it's a different club. Yeah, and there's a high membership due. You have to pay to me to actually be a fan. But they brought me a gift, and they really do know me, Al, because they brought me a shirt, and it said half full on it. They said, because, listening to you on the radio and TV, we know that you're a half empty guy. And I'm negative and miserable all the time. And they're trying to get me to be half full.
Excellent.
You're a half full guy.
I try to be.
Yeah. Not lately, though.
No.
I think there's a little leak in the glass. And there's a base hit off the bat of Mark Teixeira. And Mattis had not allowed a hit since A-Rod's double with 2 outs in the first inning.
Well, hopefully for the Yankees, they string something together. First mistake, really, middle of the plate. 2-1 count, trying to get into the bat there. Teixeira getting a hanging breaking ball, is able to get it past Ty Wigginton. This young man has made pitches the entire night, the entire afternoon. That one wasn't one of them.
A-Rod hits one deep to center, but he just missed it. Fiorentino will make the play. Just got under that one. Wasn't able to drive it.
Well, he's been coming inside on some of these righties. See that ball cutting a little bit. Alex knew it right away. Very effective for a left-handed pitcher. I want to take a look at the Coors Freeze cam. Right on impact, but that ball was on the inside part of the plate. He got out in front of his front foot, which is what hitters try to do to drive the ball, but it was just in enough for him to not get full extension.
Here's Nick Swisher. Foul back to the screen. And the count 1-1. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning here at the stadium. The rain, thankfully, is held off. There's rain in the forecast. The lights have been on since the beginning of the game. But nothing so far. The 1-1. Foul ball.
I was talking with the Orioles manager, Dave Tremblay, and he was telling me how he's really excited about Mattis. And he said, boy, I hope he puts out a good performance today here at Yankee Stadium. Obviously a young pitcher, but he's almost speaking on behalf of, we do have young players to look forward to, and this is one of them. And boy, here in this setting against a great lineup in the Yankees, I hope his game is on, and I think he's getting certainly that and more. As offensive as this Yankee team has been, this young man has pitched a very good ball game up to this point.
Right in on the fist. Popped up behind the plate. Wieters makes the play, and that'll do it here in the 6th. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We take this baby to the 7th inning. It's 6-1 O's. We get our Green Mountain K-Cup coffee system from the same people who bring us our office supplies. WB Mason, who but? Well, we go to the 7th inning. A.J. Burnett still on the mound. When he threw 41 pitches in the second, you never thought he'd be around in the 7th, but he actually has pitched well since then. And Robert Andino will lead off. Fly ball, right field. Swisher. And there's one away. Let's take a look now at the Land Rover drive of the game.
And that was in the 2nd inning, as Michael just said, the 6-run inning. Brian Roberts gets this fastball down and in, a happy sweet zone for any left-handed hitter. Brian Roberts hit his 15th home run of the season. Land Rover drive of the game.
Brian Roberts comes up now a triple away from the cycle. Single, double, and a home run. Here's a strike. Melky Cabrera hit for the cycle. The last hit he got was the triple against the White Sox.
It's the perfect game for Mark Burley. Mark Burley threw a perfect game earlier this year against Tampa Bay.
Grounded to second. Cano. 2 outs. Time to take a look at today's Toyota text poll. Get the results. Which part of Derek Jeter's game do you most appreciate? You've been texting us at 58772. 58% say leadership. Then durability, defense, and offense is last. Surprised?
Yeah, he just all-time Yankee hit leader.
Not that they don't respect it, but that's the least that they appreciate. The 0-1. 1-1. Well, AJ threw 41 pitches in the second inning. He's thrown now 53 pitches over 4 2/3 innings since. .108 pitches through 7 innings as he retires the Orioles in order. He has retired the last 7 in a row at the end of 6.5 innings of play. That was a 7-pitch inning. Yankees are trailing 6-1, but we stay right here in the Bronx and honor America.
Servicemen and women who are serving our country at home and around the globe. Now please join Kate Smith as she sings God Bless America.
And we will hear from Bob again on the WB Mason postgame show. Bottom of the 7th inning. Orioles 6 and the Yankees 1. So the Yankees 9 outs to catch up to a 5-run deficit. Robinson Cano digs in against Brian Mattis.
Bob doesn't like the sac fly runs.
Well, it takes a little starch out. You want to get a hit continually.
Yeah. Maybe about 5.
Grounded to first. Michael Aubrey. And Cano, who only seems to get 2 hits a game against the Orioles, is actually 0 for 3 this afternoon.
Yeah, another part of Brian Mattis, Yankees have yet to see him. This is his first time against the Yankees here at Yankee Stadium. And, you know, there's an element, I've always felt, that the pitcher has an advantage until at least the hitters get to see the break, and you know, all they hear from the hitting coach or scout as to what he has repertoire-wise. But until you stand in the box and actually see release point and movement, it's your only gauge, your true gauge. The break, the velocity, they'll give you all of that information, but you have to actually see what's coming out of his hand and how to react.
Well, this is their 3rd time around in the lineup, and he continues to shut them down, giving up just 3 hits. Duncan lines one to left field. It's a base hit for Shelley. Want to remind everybody that tomorrow on Yes, the Yankees finish out this series at the O's in the Bronx. Complete coverage starts at noon with the Batting Practice Today show, presented by Audi, and then the pregame show. Orioles and the Yankees tomorrow starting at noon, only on Yes.
CC will be going for his 17th. Jeremy Guthrie turned his season around, started off not very good.
Melky Cabrera takes a pitch outside. I believe that's a rematch of opening day. Guthrie against Sabathia. And the count 2-0. Opening day, it doesn't seem that long ago, and now, after today, 19 games remaining in the regular season. By the way, that single by Duncan, his first hit in the big league since June 3rd of last year. .3-0. And he walks Melky Cabrera. So the Yankees have 2 runners on for the first time since the 1st inning. And Kranitz comes out and will talk to the youngster.
Brian Mattis' last 2 starts, they were very impressive today. He went 7 innings against Cleveland. It was his best start up to date. I guess we have to put this one in there. And then his previous start, 2 wins in a row, another 7 innings out, and getting ready for Jorge Posada.
Crowd reacted when he popped his head out of the dugout, so he's going to pinch hit for Jose Molina. On Wednesday, he pinch hit. And pinch hit a 3-run home run that won the game 4-2 over the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's take a look at that home run.
Turn it on. Brett Walter's hard fastball inside. What an exciting moment there for the Yankees.
Not much to cheer about so far for the crowd of 46,497. But the Yankees have runners on first and second. Pinch hitting this year, Posada 4 for 10. 2 of the 4 home runs and 7 runs batted in. That's great numbers for a pinch hitter. And Mattis now, another one out of the zone. 95 pitches for the youngster. Last 2 starts 2-0, 3.21, so he's settled down and comfortable in the big leagues. Lefty that throws strikes, changes speeds, the 1-0. And now 2-0, and on deck is Derek Jeter. Former Yankee Sean Henn and Chris Ray warming.
Chris Ray, their former closer.
The Oriole bullpen not very good, especially of late, and ERA close to 7 in their last 13 games. 3-0. Do they turn him loose on 3-0? And the pitch. Taking, and he takes a strike.
See the pitch here. Wieters caught it, but looked like inside plate, inside corner. But anytime 3-0, catcher setting up right down the middle. Wake-up call there. Foul tip hitting Matt Wieters in the mask.
And the 3-2. Struck him out. He came back from 3-0 to strike out Jorge Posada. And there were 2 outs.
Well, the pitch by pitch, he started it off with a little changeup, floated it outside, and then missed down and away, and then just kind of yanked that one 3-0 right down the middle. May have got a call there, getting it by Posada. The last one almost looked like it had a little sink to it at the very end.
Jeter 1 for 3. With 2 outs and runners in scoring position, in his career a .316 batting average. His lifetime average is .317. So he doesn't deviate from his plan even in these big spots.
The great players, as Derek Jeter is one of them, they keep the game consistent. What a hitter tries to do in these moments is just to slow it down, recognizing that he's in a spot that he has to come up with a big hit, but the pitcher has to make the good pitch.
Count 1-2. Fouled away.
So what makes a real good hitter tough in these situations is when 2 strikes, you're down. You try not and don't, if you're locked in, to think anything different than what your first pitch approach is, right on up to in a pitcher's count, as it is right now for Mattis. 1-2. Derek Jeter's done it as well as anybody in baseball. That's why there is a bit of a history. 105 pitches, nice ball strike ratio, 64-41. When there is a history, Derek would have an idea because of the past as to how Mattis would have pitched to him in the past in situations like that. But since there isn't one, this is all on the fly right here.
And the 1-2. Struck him out. What a comeback by Brian Mattis, and what an impressive performance by a 22-year-old left-hander. Yankees, no runs a hit, no errors, and 2 men left. We go to the 8th inning. Yankees are trailing 6-1. two of us here on the booth for the Chevy Player of the Game. Please text your vote to 58772. Today's candidates are number 1, Nolan Reimold; number 2, Brian Roberts; number 3, Robert Andino; number 4, Brian Mattis. Vote now and make your voice heard. Standard text messaging rates apply. Time to make the call to the bullpen for Joe Girardi, and it's brought to you by AT&T, your world delivered. And that call to the bullpen brings in Josh Towers. That's what he did with Trent Wilkes-Barre, 19 games. Good numbers.
Spent some considerable big league time with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Posada now takes over behind the plate. And Brian Mattis gets a hug from Dave Tremblay. Well-deserved hug.
Well, Dave Tremblay was hoping that his young pitcher would come up big here in New York, and he certainly did that.
Now for Dave Tremblay, he has to worry, is he going to be back? Is he going to be able to reap the benefits of these young pitchers that are coming through the Orioles system? As Markakis lines one right at Swisher. And that's a big question. Nobody knows the answer. Only Andy McPhail, who's actually here this weekend with the Orioles. But will they move on to another manager? Right now, the Orioles are suffering growing pains. They don't have a very good team. The pitching's not good, but the young pitching is on its way. And if those young pitchers step up next year and have good seasons, you know what? The Orioles can be competitive, and he could be the guy who could reap the benefits. But there's been no vote of confidence of any sort from Andy McPhail.
Well, and Andy McPhail is a guy that, as a general manager, he's always been in the theory you grow your arms and you buy your bats. And I think that's exactly what he thinks he has here with the core nucleus. So last night with Chris Tillman, and then today with Brian Mattis. Brian Roberts, a guy that's locked up. They have a few players that they can hang their hat on. Adam Jones has been injured for the rest of the year. Very exciting player.
Oh, what a grab by A-Rod. Fires to first. Not in time. Took a double away from Reimold, but still a beautiful play.
Hot smash to third base, hot corner right here. Reimold gets it just in the reach. Alex almost overran a little bit. Good reaction. Reimold just a little too fast for the throw across the diamond, making it close. Nice reaction. Dive, stab, get to his feet as quickly as possible. Good firm throw. Reimold just beating it out.
Here's Luke Scott. And there's a strike.
If you look at the Orioles, Michael, you could have some similarity to the 08 Rays, where they had really only Scott Kazmir as a veteran guy. If you'd have called Kazmir a veteran, he's been around for a few years prior to 08. They had James Shields and Andy Sandestein and Matt Garza came over to trade Edwin Jackson, and what they did. And I think that's probably what the Orioles are going to do. They're going to go out and try to find that established pitcher, maybe not a front end guy, but a John Lackey type. Could come in and solidify the front end of it. Show some of the younger pitchers kind of the way how to go about it.
It's got to be a good feeling for Andy McPhail as he continues to try to build this team. You look at this game, you've got Brian Mattis on the mound, and you've got a rookie catcher behind the plate. That bodes well. You can get a battery and develop a battery. That's pretty good. But, you know, you're in the American League East. Incremental steps aren't going to get it done. You got the Yankees and the Red Sox setting the pace. And I've been talking to a lot of baseball people over the last couple of weeks about this. The huge difference between the National League and the American League. Runner goes, fly ball left field. And Hairston retires Scott as Reimold heads back to first. And the general feeling, Al, is that the difference is that the Yankees and the Red Sox set the pace for the rest of the league, where they know that they've got to keep up with these two teams, that nothing is good enough except for a championship, and they're willing to spend money, and everybody else spends to that level, at least try to compete. In the National League, there are no Yankee and Red Sox teams that's pushing everybody else up. That's why in the National League, their teams aren't as good.
Well, but you know, and you said it earlier about AJ's rough inning in the second inning, where in the playoffs, if this was a game against Detroit, can you rebound from a 6 spot in the second inning? Could be a loss in a division series game.
And Wieters is out, so a scoreless inning for Josh Towers. We'll finish that thought in just a moment. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 6-1 O's. %15 or more on cars.
What a day Brian Roberts has had. First at bat off A.J. Burnett, base hit, and this was the big blow in the second inning. Grand slam, 6-run spot for the Orioles, putting them ahead there. And then his third at bat, left center field. Melky making a nice effort diving, but Brian Roberts getting his 51st double of the year. A 3 for 4 day for Brian Roberts. The Geico plays of the game.
Well, Dennis Baez takes over on the relief of Brian Mattis, who was outstanding. Baez 51 games, 4-6, 4.22. And he'll face Hairston, Teixeira, and Rodriguez. Yankees trail 6-1. All right, let's finish the point, Al, about the difference in the leagues. And I say that the Yankees, a lot of people I've talked to say the Yankees and the Red Sox kind of bring up the rest of the group because they strive so much for winning and spend as much money as they do, and everybody else has to keep pace with the Joneses. In the National League, that's not there.
Okay, but it's going to come down to you're right. I mean, if you go man for man, you could look at the talent of certainly with the Yankees. Nobody comes close. The Red Sox, certainly an impressive team, but it's about who has the hottest 2 pitchers leading into the postseason. Maybe even 2.5 if you have your third starter. But if you have dominant guys, and the team for me right now, the Cardinals. You have Adam Wainwright leading the National League with 18 wins, and Carpenter's been unbelievable, 2.16 ERA. That's a 1-2 tandem right there. That is going to be awfully tough. I don't care for any lineup, Yankees included. Their offense, of course, at Pujols. Matt Holliday's been excellent coming over. You know, there are elements to the National League team where you have to watch out. It'll snip you. Look what the Phillies did last year. That trade for the Phillies now with Cliff Lee over there. And certainly their offense with Howard and Utley and Worth and what Ibanez has meant to that team. So there's always that what if. And it really starts with dominating starting pitching.
Count 3-2 on Hairston. But you would admit, though, I mean, in a short series, Little Sisters of the Poor could beat the best team. All you have to do is get on a run and get hot pitchers. I understand what you're saying. But in general, you see interleague play. But the National League is dwarfed by the American League. Look at Cliff Lee. Now, Cliff Lee won the Cy Young Award last year and pitched okay this year, but he's been unbeatable in the National League. Look at CC Sabathia, who's unbeatable going from the Indians to Milwaukee. Just unbeatable. And when you make the switch from the, and then John Smoltz and Brad Penny, they got released by the Red Sox, and they've been pitching well in the National League. It's got to be something to it. Hairston just nipped at first base.
Yeah. Michael, how about a number 9 hole hitter who's batting 300 or 270 with 15 jacks? You're not dealing with, it's a whole different game.
Well, we know fans take their Yankees seriously, so now fans can watch live Yes Network games on their PCs and laptops. If you're an Optimum Online and IOTV customer who watches Yes, go to YesNetwork.com to get more information and sign up for your subscription now. Here's Mark Teixeira. Fouled away. Another thing that people always say, the difference in the leagues, is what happened in the second inning. Now, the Orioles are not a great team, but they've got some offense, people that could hurt you. You have a rough inning in the National League, you might give up 1 or 2 runs. You have a rough inning in the American League, you're going to give up 7 because there's no landing spot. Popped up, a long run for Wigginton into foul territory near the seats, and he runs out of room.
True. And look, you mentioned about Cliff Lee and CC going from the American League National League, although Cliff Lee won the Cy Young, so I mean, he was able to do it in the American League as well. But it's about 3/4 of a run. If whatever you see that what the National League pitcher's doing, I mentioned about Carpenter 2-1-6, you can add about 3/4. Adam Wainwright 18-7 at 2.59. He's probably, if you put the comparable numbers and you spread it out over a full year, 33, 34 starts, he's probably right now, the way he's pitched, you could probably say he's a 3.5, 3.6 ERA guy.
And Teixeira swings and misses for the second out. So Dennis Baez has retired the first 2 Yankees here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Good changeup for Baez here, just the bottom dropping out of it, Teixeira out in front of it. Even the Tigers. Adam Verlander on with the Edwin Jackson.
And Porcello.
Yes, Justin, of course.
Count 0-1 on A-Rod. Alex 1 for 3. Double in the first inning and a fly ball to right, fly ball to center. Alex Rodriguez with his 3-run home run in the first inning yesterday was his 25th of the year. He also tied Gehrig for most consecutive seasons with 25 or more home runs. Let's see that list one more time. Is Bonds at the top of that? Bonds and Ruth are tied with 15. So next up for Alex, if he has another 25 home run year next year, is Willie Mays. And a strike. And the 2-2.
Baez, another one of the casualties to surgery, was a closer, did a nice job with the Rays, has spent some time with a few different ball clubs. Looks like he's healthy so far, looking at his appearance today, hitting some 95-mile-an-hour arrow. It's a matter of staying healthy.
Rodriguez has 9 hits in his last 17 at bats, 16 hits in his last 32. And overall, he's at 287. The 2-2. Driven the other way and out of play. And the one thing we haven't seen from Alex this year is the drive to right field. I mean, he hit a lot of home runs last year to right center at the old Yankee Stadium. If he just hits fly balls to right center, and the way the wind pattern blows here, well, he can get a load of home runs next year. I just don't think he's had that stroke so far this year. 2-2. Missed outside.
And really, Michael, you know as well as any, watching enough of these games and watching Alex Rodriguez's bat, that's it. That's his best swing. Yes, he can hit the ball out the way he did left field last night, but his good approach is that right center gap, I believe.
Right off the fist and loop to Wigginton, and the Yankees go down in order against Danny's Baez here in the 8th. We go to the 9th inning at the stadium. Orioles holding on to a 6-1 lead. Work as we go to the 9th. Ty Wigginton will lead it off. And the pitch low, 1-0. 6-8-1, leading 1-4-0. Yankees lost last night 10-4. Line drive to left field, a base hit for Wigginton, his second of the game. He's 2 for 4. After the final out, you have to keep it on yes for the Emmy-winning WB Mason postgame. Join Bob Arantz and Kimberly Jones for highlights, analysis, and more from this game with the Orioles, and also from around the rest of baseball. Plus, get the reaction from the clubhouse. It is the one and only WB Mason postgame, only on yes. Here's Michael Aubrey. Now, I didn't check this with Elias, Al, but I think that the Orioles are the first team in Major League history to have a guy who played first base whose first name was Aubrey, and then have a guy who played and his last name was Aubrey.
You know what? I think in 1974, Cleveland had it.
Really?
Yeah, Smith.
So the guy's first name was Smith, right, and last name?
Right. Smith Jones, and then another guy came along.
Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith.
Right. I thought well, I said this was the only one to have Aubreys.
Oh, yeah, no, right. That's true.
That's definite. 1-1. There's a strike.
Well, I know when you face up against a good pitcher, Brian Mattis, but this game did have kind of a flat feel. And anytime your offense only gets 4 hits, you score your only run in the first inning. It just kind of has that feeling of trying to see something, catch something, see if you can get a little roll, and they just didn't do it so far.
And Aubrey pops one up the left field. Harrison's getting a workout out there. One away. Now, the players, I mean, they're tied on both teams. And if you look at it, the Orioles only scored in 1 inning. The Yankees scored in 1 inning. But you can't deny that they've got to be exhausted because they got out of here yesterday. The starters that got taken out, they left a little bit early, but still it wasn't very early. They must have gotten to bed about 3 in the morning. Now, I know that they didn't have the reports until 11:30, but still, you got to wind down from a game. You're not going to fall asleep right away, and they're tired. They are. Not an excuse, but certainly if you're looking for reasons why they look a little sluggish, that could be it. And you don't want to take anything away from Brian Mattis. You're right, Al. He was dealing. And it's not a fluke because he's a first-round draft pick, fourth pick overall in the 2008 draft. This is a real big-time guy. He's supposed to pitch like that, but against this Yankee lineup, it's impressive. Line to left field. Hairston will not make the play. It's over his head and up against the wall. Wigginton will go to third. He'll stop right there. It's a double for Andino. And the Orioles have runners on second and third, one out. Andino is 2 for 4.
Well, you know, we're talking about it. You know, a game like this, what do you play for? Well, certainly Robert Andino, who's a young minor league prospect with the Marlins, and get an opportunity here with the Orioles. Seeing if down the stretch, he's going to be the go-to utility guy, middle infielder for the Orioles next year. It's a little breaking ball that's up out over the plate. Drives that ball.
And they're going to intentionally walk Brian Roberts, so they'll try to set up the double play with Fiorentino due up. So Roberts would have had another chance at the cycle, but not to be. He's going to get an intentional walk instead. So you're going to have Wigginton at third, Andino at second, and Roberts is at first. Now the Orioles are poised to take 2 in a row from the Yankees, and when you consider what they've done since the All-Star break, that's kind of startling. They are 17 and 35 in 52 games since the break. 17 and 35. There's ball 4. Along with Al Leiter, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball right here on the YES Network. We thank you for joining us on this Saturday afternoon. And the Orioles lead the Yankees 6-1 top of the 9th inning, but they're looking for more. They have the bases loaded with 1 out, and Jeff Fiorentino coming to the plate. Fiorentino is 0 for 4. There's a 4-game hitting streak. Long stay in the minors for Fiorentino, called up and getting an opportunity to show the Orioles he belongs. That's why these guys play hard, as Al mentioned earlier. This could be their ticket to a job next year, or maybe impress a scout who's sitting behind home plate. Fly ball left field, giving chase is Hairston into the corner, and he makes the play. Tagging is Wigginton. He will score, and it's 7 1-0s. So it's a sac foul fly and an RBI for Fiorentino.
Nice play. This ball peeling off of Fiorentino's bat, and this gets lost or in the corner there. He's checking out, seeing where the wall is. Very nice play. Hard up against the carom there. Take the out. Quickly mindset to throw the ball in. Nice play, Jerry.
Here's Markakis. Runners on first and second at 2 outs. Count 1-0. Sergio Mitre asked me today, when he came in relief of Edouard Ramirez right before the rain delay, if that was in fact an appearance in a game. Now I thought it was, and I said it on the air. He said, I was wondering, did you check that out? And I said, I will check it out. And I thought it was an appearance. And the reason it wasn't an appearance was that Paul Olden, the public address announcer, never said his name. If he had said his name, even if he didn't throw a pitch, that he would have been in a box score as an appearance, but not as a game pitch, just as an appearance. High fly ball down the right field line. If it's fair, it's trouble. It's a foul ball.
Well, that's what last night when we were wondering, obviously a lot was going on with the rain delay, and then Wally Bell, the crew chief, would call in the tarps, the grounds crew to bring the tarp out, but at the time I didn't hear the public address announcer say his name. But that's right, huh? So you don't even have to stand on the mound, throw a pitch?
As long as you come in, Coming in to pitch for the Yankees, Sergio Mitre. Starts to pour. He never even warms up. They put the tarp on. An hour and a half rain delay. They don't want to send him back out. That's an appearance. And Markakis swings and misses through a fastball. That'll do it in the ninth. But an insurance run for the Orioles. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 men left. Last licks coming up for the Yankees. 7-1-0s. Announced the Chevy player of the game, as voted on by you, the fans, and the two of us here in the booth.
Well, it was the young starting pitcher for the Orioles who pitched 7 innings, only 4 hits, baffled these Yankee hitters at an assortment of changeups and sliders, curve, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. What a performance for the young Brian Mattis, Chevy player of the game.
(7-1) Yankees trail. The Orioles bring in essentially their closer. 8 saves, Jim Johnson. And he's got good stuff. So he'll try to get the final 3 outs.
Very good stuff, Michael. Their power arm. I mean, it seems across baseball you're watching, especially the relievers coming in, 95+ arm velocity guys. Big, tall pitcher. Good playing right here from Jim Johnson.
Yankees have a major league best 45 come from behind wins. Do they have a rally in their bones here in the bottom of the 9th inning? Johnson's last appearance against the Yankees was on September 2nd. Didn't get an out, 3 hits, 5 runs, and 2 walks. So he goes 2-0 on Nick Swisher. Fouled away.
Yeah, you look for every organization looks for their young pitcher. Well, actually, Jim Johnson, 26. He's not that young, but he possesses the stuff and good makeup for reliever mentality. And Dave Tremblay has liked what he's seen and given him an opportunity after George Sherrill was traded to Los Angeles in August. He said, "Okay, Mr. Johnson, you're the closer. Let's see what you can do." From Endicott, New York, upstate.
Swing and a miss. Swisher down on strikes. After the final out, you have to keep it on yes for the Emmy-winning WB Mason postgame. Join Bob Lorenz and Kimberly Jones for highlights, analysis, and more from this game with the O's and from around the rest of baseball. Plus, get the reaction from the clubhouse. It's the WB Mason postgame only on yes. Check this out, Al. You know how close we are to Citi Field. Used to be Shea Stadium right there. I mean, very, very close. If there's no traffic, you can get there in about 6 minutes. Well, the U.S. Open is right next to Citi Field. The U.S. Open has been in a 3.5-hour rain delay as this game is going on. How could it be pouring in Queens and not one drop here?
Huh. It's pouring right now.
Well, like, even a drop of rain they can't play.
But it is raining.
But there hasn't been a drop here.
It's like in Florida. You ever been down there where it's raining like across the street and it never touches your house? Crazy.
Does that happen?
Yeah. You can see the rain. It's like a line of it. It's kind of that day all day today with the cloud coverage.
That's a base hit up the middle for Robinson Cano.
It's actually all around us. It was raining in New Jersey, up in Westchester. This little opening right around Yankee Stadium.
161st and River.
That's it. It's the only spot.
This is the window.
This is the window, the proverbial window.
Brett Gardner will pinch hit for Shelley Duncan. Gardner a couple of hits yesterday. I asked Joe Girardi how did he choose the 3 starters that didn't get the rest of the night off. He said, well, Matsui I would have liked to have. He said, but I ran out of players. He said he was the DH, so I said, okay. He's just got to hit. He's not going to play the field. He said the other 2 guys, Gardner and Cabrera, they're the youngest. He said, I couldn't. He said, I know that Michael Dunn was an outfielder. I didn't want to run him out there. And I felt it was better that he pitched. So it wasn't drawing the short straw. It was simply who's the youngest guys, and those are the guys that stayed in.
Fair enough.
The 1-1 popped up. Out of play. Melky played, and Gardner played the whole game.
Gardner ended up getting a knock out of it. Two for 4.
Well, Mariano and Phil Hughes have not pitched in a couple of days, so just getting in some throwing in the bullpen. And the count 2-2.
Yeah, that out there, that's just an elevated version of playing catch with someone down squatted, throw some strikes, maybe about 75% effort for those 2 guys out in the pen right now.
Grounded to second. They'll get 1. On to first. Not in time. Gardner's too quick, so the Yankees are down to their final out.
No chance. As soon as this ball's hit, I don't know how many times. It doesn't have to be a 2-hopper to the middle infield to get him in a double play.
So it comes down to Melky Cabrera. He's walked twice today. He's 0 for 1 with a ground ball to second in the second inning. Then he walked in the 5th and walked in the 7th. Johnson deals. There's a strike. So yesterday the Orioles snapped a 10-game losing streak to the Yankees, now trying to build a 2-game winning streak. Line drive down the right field line. It is a base hit. It'll go into the corner. Gardner rounds third. They're sending him home. He will score. Yankees still alive. An RBI double for Cabrera. And the Oriole lead is now 7-2.
Melky with a couple of walks gets this breaking ball. It's up in the zone, hangs it up enough, able to just keep it inside the right field foul line. Brett Gardner missing maybe about a foot. 26 double the year, 59th RBI. Speed of Brett Gardner going, okay, this is all the way right here. Head down. No play at home.
So a run scored for Brett Gardner, and now Posada steps to the plate. He struck out pinch hitting in the 7th inning. And a strike. We told you the Oriole bullpen has been porous. Last 13 games, 33 earned runs in 42 and 2/3 innings. That's a 6.96 ERA. Danny Baez worked a 1-2-3 eighth inning, but now Johnson is allowed a run here in the ninth. The 0-1. Inside 1-1. Tough going for a manager. You don't know what to do. You stay with your starters maybe a bit longer than you want because you're just somewhat fearful of calling for a reliever. Hot shot up the middle. It is a base hit. Cabrera rounds third. He will score. It's an RBI single for Posada, and the Yankees now trail 7-3.
Posada taking this sinker, running down and away. Nice piece of hitting right back through the box. Getting his 76th RBI. Doesn't try to do a whole lot, realizing with the Yankees down by 4 runs now, 5 runs at the time. Just chip away, keep the line moving.
And that's going to bring up Jeter. Jeter singled, stole a base, and scored in the first inning. Since then, nothing. Lined out to second, grounded to second, and struck out. Matsui comes out on deck and pinch hit for Hairston. And the 0-1. Yankees get 2 more runners on, and that brings the tying run to the plate. And the person of Mark Teixeira. But Jeter and Matsui have to do their job. 7-3 O's. The 1-1. 1-2.
Derek didn't like that first call of the sequence. Thought it was inside. I think he thinks this one's down.
Might have been right.
Well, definitely where Wieters caught it. It's the angle of where the pitcher's thrown it.
And Jeter swings and misses, and that'll do it. That's the ball game as the Orioles win this one 7-3. In the ninth inning, the Yankees get 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 1 man left. This is just the 3rd series the Yankees have lost since the All-Star break. And now they've lost 2 in a row, and they had not lost consecutive games at home since June 17th and 18th against the Nationals. And they have not lost consecutive games overall since August 16th and 17th, last game in Seattle and the first game in Oakland. We'll come back, we'll put a bow on it, then we'll lead you right into the WB Mason postgame with Bob Lorenz and Kimberly Jones. So the Orioles win this one on a Saturday afternoon, 7-3 over the Yankees.